Hi there and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's dive into today's top stories. £40 million Arsenal player missed recent behind closed doors friendly after injury. Most of Arsenal's key players have been off on international duty over the past week. However, there are a few Gunners players who have stayed in North London over this period. The likes of Thomas Partey and Takahiro Tomiyasu have stayed behind, as has Yurian Tamber, as he continues to recover from his long-term injury. Tamber has been edging ever closer to a return to action for Arsenal, but interestingly, according to Chris Wheatley, speaking on ShotsTV, Tamber wasn't actually involved in a recent behind the closed door friendly against the QPR. Whitley shared what he knows about Tamber and this recent game. He said, "He is very close. He is hoping to be involved in one of the upcoming games. He could be named in the squad for Man City, of course. It's always a possibility." He wasn't involved in the behind the closed doors friendly against the QPR over the international break that only included Thomas Partey and Takahiro Tomiyasu, but there was no Yurian Tamber. As nice as it would be for Tamber to get back playing, there is no need to rush him back and risk him in a behind closed doors friendly like this. This game against the QPR literally didn't matter, and the worst thing Arsenal could have done was to rush Tamber back and aggravate his injury further. Tamber will be back soon enough. As Whitley says, he could even be in the squad against Man City this weekend, but patience is always the name of the game here when you are dealing with a player who has suffered such a complicated injury that has left them on the sidelines for such a long time. The £40 million man may have missed the game against the QPR, but he should be back in action soon enough. Charles Watts shares Bukayo Saka update ahead of Arsenal versus Manchester City. This weekend, we'll see one of Arsenal attempt to stake a huge claim for this season's Premier League title. Mikel Arteta's Gunners head to the Etihad Stadium on Sunday to take on Manchester City as the three-horse race for the title intensifies. Arsenal currently sit top of the standings on 64 points, but Liverpool are level on points in second, and Man City are just a point behind in third. The Gunners are currently sweating on the fitness of three key players ahead of the match, namely Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli, and Gabriel Magalhaes. Arsenal journalist Charles Watts, writing on Count Offside on a Tuesday evening, has now provided an update on all three players. And while Martinelli is a real doubt, it's touch and go for Magalhaes. Saka seems to be in a fairly decent position ahead of Arsenal's trip to City. The Gunners expert said the following: "I do expect Bukayo Saka to be fit. From the conversations I've had, I do not get the impression that his withdrawal from the England squad is much to be concerned about. The issue was described to me as a slight muscle injury, but it's not thought to be serious. Arsenal will make a late call on Saka, but the hope right now is that he will make the trip to Manchester." Arsenal fans will no doubt be relieved that things don't seem too bad for Saka at this moment in time. The 22-year-old is an indispensable player for the Gunners, and he would be a huge mess if he misses out against City. Let's see what the late call will be, and fingers crossed everything goes well as Arsenal continue to prepare for such a big game. International boss claims absolutely outstanding Arsenal player went up another level last night. One key Arsenal player has received huge praise from his international boss after his latest display for his country. Arsenal are set for a huge fixture at Manchester City this weekend, and it would appear that most of their stars have come through the international break without any fresh injury concerns. Of course, the Gunners do face a nervous weight over Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Magalhaes, and Gabriel Martinelli. It's touch and go for Magalhaes, but there is belief that Saka will be fit for the trip to the Etihad Stadium, as we mentioned before. With a few injury concerns ahead of a crucial title clash, Mikel Arteta would have been watching on nervously as Declan Rice captained England last night. The 25-year-old earned his 50th cap as he played the full 90 minutes in a 2-2 draw against Belgium. Despite calls from David Seaman for Rice to be rested at Wembley, Southgate started the midfielder and was impressed with his display. Speaking to Channel 4, Southgate delivered his verdict on Rice after the Arsenal star captained his country for the first time. He said, "That's why I was so pleased with the character that the team showed because people had to step up due to injuries. Declan Rice, I thought, was absolutely outstanding across both games, but in this match, as captain, he took up another level of leadership, and younger players really stepped forward." Despite playing the full 90 minutes in both of England's friendlies over the past week, Rice will be raring to go on Sunday. The Arsenal star has racked up 39 appearances for the Gunners in all competitions this season, but has shown no signs of fatigue. If Arteta's men are to pick up a result on Sunday, you'd imagine that Rice will play a key role in the middle of the park. He has excelled in a more advanced role for Arsenal in recent weeks, and they will need Rice at his very best this weekend. John Hardson is shocked that £24 million player hasn't asked to leave Arsenal yet. With 10 games left to play, Mikel Arteta's men lead the way in the Premier League and are set to face Bayern Munich in the quarter-finals of the Champions League. The Spaniard has done an excellent job of managing his squad this season, but there have been a few players who have struggled for minutes. Aaron Ramsdale certainly falls into that category as he's made just 6 appearances in the league after David Raya's arrival. The £24 million goalkeeper is expected to depart this summer, but John Hardson is surprised he hasn't already asked to leave the Emirates Stadium. Speaking on talkSPORT, Hardson questioned Ramsdale's decision to stay and fight for his place at Arsenal. He said, "The goalkeeper was questioned when he moved Ramsdale out, and I'm surprised Ramsdale didn't ask for a move on the back of that because he would have been very, very disappointed. If I was him, I would have been saying you prefer another one to me. I'm good enough to play every week." Ali McCoist added, "He surely had a chat with Gareth Southgate though. I mean, the first thing you do if you are Aaron Ramsdale is say, is this going to affect me going to the Euros? That must have been a conversation, surely." While Ramsdale remains very much a part of Southgate's squad, he is unlikely to replace Jordan Pickford anytime soon. The 25-year-old was placing pressure on Pickford while he was integral to Arsenal last season, but with Raya set to be signed permanently this summer, you'd imagine that Ramsdale will have to move on for regular first-team football. It would be a real shame to see his time at Arsenal end in such a way after he was key for Arteta last term. Yet, Arteta's choice to bring in Raya has been vindicated in recent weeks. A move for Ramsdale feels like the best for all parties at this stage, particularly with the Englishman hoping to become Southgate's first choice goalkeeper. Arsenal could now have a golden chance to sign a player Mikel Arteta has wanted for over 12 months. Transfers very rarely happen out of nothing in football, but there is a player Mikel Arteta has wanted for a while now. Back in January 2023, the Spaniard and Edu chased a deal for Real Sociedad number 4, Martin Zubimendi. A story from The Athletic even stated that Arsenal were willing to trigger the Spain international €60 million release clause. Such was their desperation to sign the player. However, the 25-year-old wanted to stay in his homeland with Real Sociedad, and Arsenal eventually sealed a £12 million deal for Jorginho. Now, however, Arsenal could have a golden chance to lure Martin Zubimendi to the Emirates Stadium. Well, Arsenal have something Real Sociedad want, and a potential swap deal could be in the offing. or at least a player plus cash move. A story from Steve Kay states that Real Sociedad are keen to sign Thomas Partey this summer, a man who made a name for himself as one of Europe's best midfielders during his time in Spanish with Atletico Madrid. According to Charles Watts, Arteta and Edu actually think Zubimendi is the perfect option to replace the Ghana international in North London, so the Arsenal number 5 being used as a bargaining chip does not seem that far-fetched. As aforesaid, transfers rarely happen quickly in football, although it feels like the timing is now right for Zubimendi to join Arsenal. Reports suggest the Spaniard already knows just how much Arteta wants him in North London, and the 42-year-old is believed to have privately spoken to his fellow countryman on the phone. There have been claims that Arsenal are prepared to double the midfielder's wages up to £115,000 a week. Be sure to keep an eye on the situation as a deal really could materialize this summer. People within Arsenal aren't impressed with how £60 million player has been behaving recently. Arsenal will be in the market for a new striker this summer. The Gunners have been linked with so many centre forwards in recent months that it's hard to keep track of all the rumours. One man who has been strongly linked with a move to Arsenal in recent times is Ivan Toney. The Brentford striker was said to be one of the Gunners' top targets heading into the January transfer window, but that trail seems to have gone cold recently. Speaking on ShotsTV, Chris Wheatley has shared some insight into why Arsenal have gone off Toney. Wheatley stated that Arsenal's interest in Toney has faded, claiming that they are not impressed with how the £60 million man has been behaving in recent games. He said, Ivan Toney, it doesn't look like there is the interest there once was. That has faded a bit. I don't think his behavior in certain games has impressed the Arsenal hierarchy, coupled with the fact he is going to cost a lot of money from Brentford. I don't think that's one that's likely to happen anytime soon. We think that Ivan Toney is a fantastic player, but it does have to be said that he has a bit of an ego about him. He is not scared to give his honest opinion on anything, and he is not shy when it comes to discussing his own future. Unfortunately for Toney, this Arsenal squad is currently built around a lack of ego, and that may mean that the Brentford striker wouldn't be a good fit for the North London club's dressing room. Tony certainly has a lot to offer, and he should be a star elsewhere. But based on what Mikel Arteta is trying to build at Arsenal, that move to the Emirates may not come to fruition. Arsenal could actually outbid Chelsea for world-class player this summer. Arsenal won't be the only team in the market for a new striker this summer. Indeed, while there's been a lot of chat about the Gunners signing a new centre forward in recent months, the likes of Chelsea and Tottenham also need more attacking firepower next season. However, with Arsenal in such a strong position both on the pitch and financially, the Gunners may be able to muscle their way to the front of any transfer queues this summer, even against Chelsea. Chelsea have long been the financial powerhouse in the Premier League, but after 2 years of ridiculous spending, profit and sustainability rules are starting to bite. Victor Osimhen is a player Chelsea have been linked with for a long time, but according to Ben Jacobs, speaking on the debrief, Arsenal could well get ahead of Chelsea in a financial sense when pursuing this deal. The journalist said, Arsenal like Joshua Zirkzee, they have been scouting Victor Gyökeres. I think it's less likely at this stage that they are too aggressive on Victor Osimhen. PSG are maybe the more likely destination, but if Osimhen decides he wants to come to the Premier League and Arsenal enter the race, Arsenal can go head to head. They might even get ahead, financially speaking, of Chelsea. Many believe that Arsenal need a truly elite striker if they are to reach the next level, and Osimhen very much ticks that box. The Nigerian excels in almost every area of the game. He is clinical, he is fast, he is great in the air, and he can also pick a pass. We'd love to see Osimhen in the Premier League, and perhaps a move to Arsenal could be on the cards for the Napoli striker this summer. Osimhen is a world-class player who could be an absolute star for Arsenal. This is certainly a situation to keep an eye on. As we wrap up today's Arsenal news, remember to stay tuned for daily updates right here on the channel. Don't miss out on the latest updates, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a like if you found this information valuable. Your support means the world to us. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.